how can marketers justify the cost of engaging influencers?
Well, it depends, right? It depends why you're working with influencers. If you're working with influencers to create content and to run their content for like a whitelisted ad, then you're looking at a different type of cost than if you're looking for some massive macro influencer to use your product or stand behind it for campaign photos. So I think depending on what your goal is, you can then decide how how much you want to spend, how much you're willing to spend, and what that spend is able to do for you. But I think generally, like if you look at what you get from an influencer, from a content creator, you get if you were to compare this to a video shoot for something, storyboarding, you get production, you get a style, what's it called? Like a stylist for the video. Mm-hmm. You get lighting and audio setup, you get talent. It'll probably end up being, 10, 15, 20 times more expensive. So the cost of actually creating the content is much more efficient. The speed at which you can create the content is significantly faster, right? If you can just have one influencer or one creator, two creators create things, you're going to get it much faster than trying to organize a crew of 15, 20 people to create the same thing. And generally, I tend to like working with creators simply because they have built a following because they're good at putting out content that does well on today's platforms. That's not necessarily the case with, hiring a photographer or a videographer, right? They're not necessarily shooting for the goal of engagement on the final piece of content. They're shooting for what is the prettiest, most amazing looking piece of content we can create, which also works in a lot of cases. But, with creators, you're basically getting content created by somebody who understands how these platforms work on a micro and a macro level.